YouTube, how are you doing? Remember old YouTube? Remember when it was like anything could happen? That was fun. And you could use any music. I can't use music on YouTube now because they go audio music frequencies detected, copyright holder informed, all of your money is now being funneled. All right, what do we got? That Your Fan has 2 more projects. Careful. Make my tire hose a 2-tire hose and fix the spigot. What is that even? Tire hose? You mean like you're trying to split it so that 2 people can fill a tire at the same time? You played 0.2 seconds of middle C. Duh. How close was I? Duh. 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 I was a little sharp. Duh. 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 I think I was actually close. I don't know. I don't have a tuning app on my phone. I should probably get one. Dun, 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 dun. Fill 2 tires at the same time. 2 chicks at the same time. 2 tires at the same time would help with bending down to fill the semi-truck tires in the morning. I see, I see. Interesting. So you do, but I guess you would have the thing set to a pressure and it would take them both to that pressure. I guess that does work. I don't know how things work. I don't know. I just don't know. Cylindrical shaped mouths. I thought they were all like ergonomic. They're like weird fractal shapes or something. Interesting. Well, that's cool. If it doesn't work, I go from there. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying not to let like projects balloon out of control here because I have too much to do already. And the ever-present and an ongoing project of trying to keep all my stuff neat. It lit up. You just didn't see it. I would, you know, I'm this close to taking on a new project, and that project relates to Burn the Subs, and it would be, if I can find that enclosure, where is that thing? I want to show that enclosure. I don't know where I put it. It was floating around there, but yeah, I think it might have gone to the cat dimension. It might have been absorbed. Oh no, there it is. I see it. I can get it real quick. I see it. It's up here. No, it's gonna untop my shirt. No, my belly, my big belly. Okay, here we go. So this, I think I could find a job for this, and I think I could find a pretty fascinating. Oh God, it's covered in dust. Filthy, filthy. Okay, this thing, I can give it a decent power supply, not like 120 volts, although it probably should have that, but that would make putting it out on the desk a little bit harder for me. It would sit out on the desk like this, right, with all the other accoutrements that I have sitting around here. And what I would do is put maybe 1 or 2 pairs of Nixie tubes. Space is kind of at a premium, so maybe 2 Nixie tubes, and then a VFD and some kind of a fancy button on it. 2 fancy buttons. Thought I heard curly. This is just my reaction to dust. That's a cool case. These are like what everybody used back in the day. Everybody used these things back in the day, right? To make little things. I was going to make this the thing that focuses the microscope, and I probably should do that because I still have that 1:100 stepper motor, and then I could print one of those gear rings that would go here, and the 1:100 stepper motor would go next to it, maybe do something for the aperture, and then I could make a little control panel, or maybe I could just use the tiles to control it. That might actually be what I do one day, and that way when I change the focus on the camera, it won't shake all over the place. That or we just live with it. But this thing right here, I'm gonna put the music back on. Okay, so this thing, what I can do is put one of the VFDs on it, 2 buttons, and the 2 round Nixies. And what can happen is, because it'll be nice and fancy for people to see on stream, this thing will look very much project-y, right? It looks very much like electrical engineer made a thing. In lieu of like making other tools for myself, this would actually be a really good one for stream, because what it'll do is it'll display the username that's subbed, any additional information I have, number of months in succession maybe. Maybe it'll have to say over here whether or not it's a streak, or I add an LED that'll light up when there's a streak. And then that'll give me all the information I need to thank them verbally. The two buttons would be send to burn the subs or reject. So I'd send or reject the username, and then I could go over and show it burning on the thing. So if there's like a big gift sub, it would have a queue of names, and I could send, and it would give me all the information I need. I think that would be a pretty cool use of this. Actually, even cooler would be to use something like the Stream Deck tiles, so that they would give you all that information. But this would be cool because I can take it to other places. It'll work in conjunction with the alert light. Nah. Put it. This seems like it's a standard size, doesn't it? Yeah, I think that would be something that I'd like to work on, because it's a little bit more old school kind of stuff that I used to do. So cutting this would be very annoying. I'd be very bad at it. I could potentially use my tin nibblers to make like a nice big hole with a couple anchor screws that I would put in there. I could rivet in some screw sections, and then I could make a 3D printed plate that goes on top of it. Although the Nixies and the VFD stuff can get a little bit warm. There might need to be a little tiny fan in the back of this. I have tiny fans. I could put the smallest fan that I have in there. It's a 10mm fan, very tiny indeed. That would move just enough air to keep this thing from overheating. I think that would be a good project. We should think about doing that one soon. And that way I would have this for when people sub, and then when we get Burn the Subs up and roaring, I'd have the buttons to associate. Yeah, these are fun. I think you can still find them around, the metal project cases, but 3D printing has made it so that you can make more of a unique project case for your little projects. I like things to look kind of stapled together, but if you really try, you can make something really cool out of these kinds of things. But nowadays, I mean, you just pull it into CAD, design some plastic solids that'll surround your invention, and Bob's your uncle. You have something that looks really, really good. Much more artistic than one of these cases. It used to be, you'd see all kinds of project boxes like that for custom engineered things. It's a vibe. It's a vibe. It's a definitely, once people are done with retro futurism and cassette tape ism, what is that called? They're probably going to go to the Radio Shack vibes, which is what these are. I would have liked to maybe make this into my modular synthesizer tester, but it's better that the modular synthesizer tester exists in a modular synthesizer kind of thing, because then I can mount the module next to the tester. And the tester, I still haven't done everything that I wanted to do with it. I wanted that to be self-calibrating and have all these other features, and I got kind of bogged down with it. I've got it working enough so that I can tune the modules that I have. I need to get together with Julian. I've been a bad friend. I messaged him. I told him my hell week of taxes is over, so I need to go hang out at Julian's house, because he's been to my place like 17 times and I haven't reciprocated. I've been bad about that, so I need to get my ass out of here because I'm starting to grow in. I've got roots. It's like a fungus. I'm starting to grow into this place too much, so I got to get myself out of here and actually, touching grass I've been doing because of the dog. So there's that, but yeah, I gotta get myself back out in the world. Oh boy, in the interim, I've been thinking about what project to do, and these switches have been sitting on my desk for a month. So I bought new switches. I actually bought regular Omeron switches. These are very common in mice. I verified that this has the same type. These have a SteelSeries logo on them, but I figure I need to kind of wet the bed. I mean, put this to bed, get this over with, because we've got so much else to work on, and that double-clicking issue is really getting on my nerves. this switch has really been defeating me. I have been trying thing after thing on it, and it's been failing, even though apparently the internet gave me a cheat sheet. You know, I got an email from somebody in the know that said, hey, this is actually the code, and your YouTube should have comments turned on. I said, oh, shit, I better turn on those comments. So I did. YouTube now has comments. Hello, YouTube. Oh, let's open up YouTube chat. I forgot that. I forgot. Let's go ahead and do find and auto activate, and there it is. And has anybody chatted? Wait, why did it open up the, oh, sign in to chat? What are you pulling on me? But it's still supposedly opened up, but this is the, okay, I'm gonna close this. Okay, there's two open. Let's view this one. Was this from just today? No, this is from last stream. Microbe Hunter could find out. Hard mode, replace the keycaps from memory. I actually tried and it didn't work. Hi YouTube, I gotta verify that we're actually, what the hell's going on over here? I think I hit start. Wait, did it keep the old chat room? Or is this all, oh, this is a long string of lawn dog. Okay, hold on. We got to catch up with all the chatting that's been going on. Remove that source, find and activate. There we go. All right, so that's one of the classic old school cases. I love the style. It worked for a lot of things. Yeah, it's nice to have that little angle on it because you can have it on a desk and all the stuff faces you. It's me making a rant. I know, I'm going to catch up with you. Discovered I've destroyed the way Gemini works. I don't care about AI. Sorry. I've realized something about myself in the past month is that I don't care about AI. I know it can be useful to help you code if you don't know what you're doing. If you do know what you're doing, it's a liability. It can cost you time. And if you're sending somebody AI music, stop. Because you didn't spend a lot of time making that. I don't want to waste my time listening to it. Right? Like, that's it. That's it. I don't care about AI. That's it. Breaking AI is fun and funny, but yeah. It's controversial now. You need to speak so fast. You can even think there's no conversion. What? Does it reply to you quickly now? Good 20 minutes asking why they did this. I don't know what it means. Conversation, interaction, unusable. Huh. I thought there was a nice pregnant pause before it replied. Weird. I don't know anything about prompting and why it's such a difficult thing to do. People, those prompt engineers are really they're in the trenches, man. They're really sacrificing life and limb to give us dog shit AI responses. Yeah, it's always just, I didn't see you live on YouTube. Weird. I don't know why it's back in like the same stream key, default stream. What is that about? Yeah, my YouTube has been particularly slow lately. I don't know what's going on. It says my connection is excellent. Dual stream. I wonder if YouTube rolled out something that gives you the same URL for your chat, because that would be nice and convenient. I don't think it does though. I think that was my chat program going weird. Oh, that was a YouTuber saying hi, YouTube. Or no, that was a YouTuber saying hi, YouTube later. Okay, anyway. Every time I have a double-clicking mouse, I eat it. It works for about 3 days, and then it does it again. I always thought it was moisture and humidity in the sensor. See, that's what people were saying, but in the opposite direction, they were saying that it's too dry, and that's what's causing the double-clicking. But I kind of want to, like, I don't have, like, a barometric chamber that I can test this in. All I know is that it's gotten kind of humid in here, and my mouse works again. It hasn't been double-clicking today. Because I have the Reddit enhancement suite, and so that adds like a little button that you tap that'll expand things like images, right? So it's all text until I decide to look at something. It's the same mouse. You two have the rival 600, huh? Yeah, the SteelSeries mice, I feel like I have freaking Stockholm syndrome with SteelSeries, because they got that Microsoft mouse feel to them, right? And they don't do things like add a center button that I don't like. They keep it real. The problem is they do things like have a plastic shaft on their mouse wheel that interacts with a plastic Omeron button. So it's just this little nub sticking up that has a plastic shaft sitting across it, and they'll machine each other away until your center click doesn't work. And when you center click something, it'll open up 700 windows in the browser because it thinks you're because it's barely able to click. So that was one thing that happened in a previous SteelSeries. In this one, I click and the thing on res goes, image gone, because it thinks I'm double clicking. There's a double click tester. Apparently this happens to a lot of the Omerons, and apparently it doesn't matter what switches you choose. You just get lucky with them and about whether or not they work for a couple years or not. This mouse has been through so much. The SteelSeries likes to put a particular type of rubber with a particular type of sticky adhesive on it, and that sticky adhesive turns into soup eventually, and the rubber becomes shiny. So I removed the rubber and I used something called Dragon Grip, which is this hexagonally cut it, just like nubbly, supposedly very sturdy adhesive. And I tried to cut it out to shape. It didn't really work out really well. But I use this mouse so much that it is absolutely disgusting. That piece is not there because that's where my thumb sits. Disgusting. Disgusting. But yeah, for some reason I keep coming back to SteelSeries. I'm like, hey, SteelSeries, I know you screwed me over with your lack of good design. I had a what is it, the 500, the Rival 500 with a little screen on it, and that one just stopped working at like a sunspot, like one proton or one what is it, neutrino. A neutrino like flew into the microprocessor and knocked a 1 out to be a 0, and the thing just went and then nothing, just dead. Is that like a skateboard tape? No, it's too small for that. It's not even like a gun grip tape. No. Are there gun grip tapes? It's basically just for general use, and the reason they're hexes is so you can put like a couple pieces on something and then you can have good grip on it. It's too small for something. I was thinking about getting the tape that they put at the end of like stairs in industrial settings. Isn't the SteelSeries mouse quite expensive? It depends on what you're buying. Your Razors and your Logitechs are similarly priced. I like SteelSeries mainly because I was able to do this. Let's show you guys. They got a decent enough macro thing. Apparently the 3D connection mouse, I mean, this thing is, I like a lot of the stuff that this one brings to the table. I wish it didn't have a center button. I could do without the center button and I would love this mouse, but it's pretty much like the same shape, these two. Yeah, people say, aren't those mice expensive, but they're using a Dell mouse that came with the computer or that they stole from their office. All right, let's see what I was able to do with this mouse. Hold on, let's get this. Come on, give me this. Bud? Hey, bud? Bud? What? Oh, that must be my broken USB port. This hub has a broken USB port. It's maddening. Did that just... I don't know. That might have just done something. It's all the other devices. Maybe this hub has had enough of my BS. Does my Stream Deck work? Hold on. Yeah, it still works. Okay. Yeah, I know. If you're using it every day, you might... Oh, here we go. Okay, so I was able to have this thing be sort of the orangey color. I don't see my cursor anywhere. Oh, there it is. There's that cursor. This mouse is... Okay, now this mouse is also controlling. Oh, I can see the difference in DPI. Ooh. Okay, I'm dual mousing today. So it's... Why is it blue? It shouldn't be blue. Yeah, see, it's red or orange red. Wait, oh no, it's doing the... Oh, never mind. This is... It reprogrammed itself because I plugged it into a different computer. What I was able to do is have it be orange. Why did it do that though? Because it had the original program on it already. We saw it for just a little bit and I wasn't able to show you guys. I'd have it be like an orange red, and when I'd click the mouse, the whole thing would go blue and then it would charge back up from bottom to top because they have 3 zones that you can light: the logo, lower, middle, and then upper, and then the scroll wheel. So I was able to make it look cool. Yeah, I'd have to open their software. Probably gonna have to do that on the other computer when I plug this back in. Damn it! Why do you do this, SteelSeries? You know, it seems like they have all those settings on the mouse so that you could like take it to an esports competition, plug it into the computer there, and then it wouldn't reprogram itself to be RGB, but apparently not. The rubber thumb pad on my mouse is so worn through the chassis underneath. Time to start shopping. Yeah, Dragon Grip is what I used on this, and it's okay. I mean, you can see this one piece came off, and then crud's starting to get into it. Because it's like, for some reason, they have these little hex patterns. I was hoping for a continuous sheet so that I could put it down on this thing and then cut around the edges so that it would fit in and look nice. But it unlike the original grips, it's not peeling up right here, because that's what the original grips did. They would peel up down in the corner, and then it would get in the way. It would be like against the desk and making this mouse operate weird. I got very annoyed at it. I got my mom a SteelSeries keyboard. I've never used her keyboard. Without the software running, the keyboard endlessly cycles through RGB. Same thing that the mouse is doing. Yeah, that's so stupid. It's just that, like, my understanding of the mouse was that you would load your program into it, and then it would just work that way. If the adhesive can hold that corner, that's something. Yeah, this thing has been able to continuously hold that corner. You have to get it kind of under there's like a lip under there too. They tried to make the rubber capture in this chamber, which helps probably their terrible adhesive hold it around that corner. But I also used a hairdryer. I used a hairdryer on it. Actually, it was my hot air gun. Yeah, I used my hot air gun on it. I used hot air on it to make sure that it really like gets a grip and sort of permanently folds on the corner so it doesn't try to pop out. And I had some issue with that. I mean, like down here, there's a piece that's kind of threatening to drag on the ground. This one too, it's kind of threatening a little bit. It's tough. The design of this is very difficult. They have it sort of wrap around the edge. For some reason, don't need to do that. You know, it's not like I'm gripping this thing down here. I'm not like, ha ha, I've got my mount. I'm not doing that. Yeah, that is very annoying that you have to have their software in order to make it not cycle RGB. And that's what this did to me too, unless I have the software. Hold on, let's SteelSeries. I don't think, if I do have it, it's probably so old. SteelSeries GG. And then their software is this over bloated crap. Wow, thanks. I love advertisements. So why didn't you recognize this? Hold on, let's plug this back in. Why did you go RGB on me? Okay, it recognized it. I don't know if they are. But look, this is my program. Why aren't you doing my program? Live previews on. Enhanced point of precision is on. Don't mess with it. Why is this not going into my mouse? My mouse is currently RGBing at me, which is insulting. Is there any good peripheral software now? I hate G-Hub, but everything I've read says the others are the same or worse. I have not had experience with them, yeah. I can't save it to the mouse. Defaulter. It won't let me send it to the mouse. Do I need to, like... No, we're not going to record. Here, let's just... Oh, I need to performatively change something in order to get it to send it to my... This is what I'm talking about, this shit right here. This shit right here. I plugged it in, it defaulted to RGB. I open the program, it says, yeah, your Rival 600 is definitely plugged in. And I go, cool, my Rival 600 is definitely plugged in. can I make it do my default now? And it says, no, you got to change something in the configuration, because I know my configuration's already in there. And I go, no, it's not. Save. There's my nope, still not. What's going on, bud? Excuse me? Rival 600, defaulter. Let's go to default and then change it over to defaulter. And the lighting is not changing. What the fuck? Why is it not changing? It's just not programming it. Really, the Logitech does that? I have a really cool like lighting setting. When I click it, like charges up. It's really cool. Oh, it doesn't have that effect in there. It's just steady orange. That's not what I programmed. What the fuck? This sucks. Oh, that's so annoying. All right, well, whatever. We lost it. This thing hates me. We don't need it anyway. Some Windows updates reset my motherboard's RGB settings, so I just removed the LED unit from the board. Thank you. Thankfully, it was attached with the connector. That's interesting. That's fascinating. Yeah, I haven't used enough stuff to realize, but man, that really feel like I'm getting jerked around by my own mouse software. It's not like the STM32F103 isn't smart enough to load its configuration into the configurator. Like, why do they not? Like, that's an EEPROM. You put an EEPROM on this thing, and then your software goes, hey, what's the configuration? This thing goes, hey, I got this going on for me right now. But instead, I end up running the SteelSeries engine, and it absolutely fucking hates me, and it does not load in the configuration that I want it to. Is it still running? Yeah. Try doing that and opening it up again. That's fascinating. That's actually fascinating that it would operate so stupidly. That you would dare. Clearly you did not save. Clearly you did not save. My glorious mouse illumination is not happening. Very strange. Very, very strange. Oh, see, that says save. Prism? What the hell is that? Oh, good. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Hey, can I close the program? Oh, I see. So you can get apps for your... I don't want another app store. That's so strange. You know what? Whatever. Maybe it's the old, because it's too old of a version of the software. I haven't updated it in like 5 years. But it's weird that I can go through the configs and there's no button to load it into the mouse. It usually updates it live. I have revert and save. Save just saves it to the computer, I guess. Very strange. All right, get that software out of here. I don't care. Get out of your stupid mouse software. The arguments for making my own mouse have just kind of increased. There's too much nuance to it all, though. There's too much weirdness that I would have to deal with in making my own mouse. If anything, I should just get one of these 3D connection mice again, but I don't want that center button. All right, let's get started. It might be a short stream today. I'm hoping that it's not. We've got some stuff to investigate. Let me go ahead and turn the music down. This is just Yacht Rock. The mix is literally called Yacht Rock, and the DJ is 8-Ball, and it's just songs that were like sort of the corporate rock radio songs that are fun to know really well. They're more fun to play on your yacht with your little yacht shoes on, and then you get washed overboard, and they eventually find you, your bloated corpse. Anyway, yeah, hi, welcome. What are we doing today? Well, more stuff on my desk is starting to irritate me to no end. It already become summer around here, and things are drying out. That's what typically happens around here, is that things get warm and moist outside, and so the air conditioners turned on inside, and all the air AC pools in this shop, and this shop got a little bit of extra insulation because we were trying to do things right by the shop when we sort of renovated this a little bit. So there's all kinds of insulation here and cold air coming down. It's like a walk-in freezer. It gets so cold and dry. When it gets cold, it gets dry. And so the dryness in the air, I believe, at least the internet believes, was the cause of double clicking on the mouse. You would click and you would get ba-boom, double click for some reason. I'd try to open things on the computer and it thought I was clicking and then clicking again. So things would open and close. And I was like, what's going on with this? And so I was going around and clicking stuff and it was double click, open, close, all kinds of weirdness. SteelSeries is a particularly interesting company. My history with SteelSeries goes pretty far. These mice, you know, I like them. The shape and the feel is all there. But the problem is all of my SteelSeries have somewhat storied endings. They seem to be able to keep me buying these products. Like I've got Stockholm Syndrome. And they keep dying on me. My Rival 300, I believe, something 300, I forget what it was. The one that's in basically this shape. The Rival 300 had an interesting death. When you clicked down the scroll wheel, it would partial click open 500 windows because of the debouncing on the mouse buttons. So not a whole lot of debouncing going on. When you center click, it would open 500 windows. We opened up the mouse, we took a look inside, we went ooh ah about all the stuff inside of it. And it turns out that the way that they do clicking on these scroll wheels pretty universally, the scroll wheel will have a shaft and the shaft will be have kind of like a bearing on one side, not really necessarily a bearing, just usually like a greased piece of plastic. And then the other side simply it sits on top of a Omeron button. These Omeron shaped, these are off-brand, they're weird ones, but this is Omeron shaped button with its little plastic nubbin on top. That will be sitting on the plastic shaft. So you have the nub and you have the plastic shaft, and the plastic shaft will spin against that, and they eventually machine each other down to the point where there was a divot in the nub and there was a collar divot on the actual scroll wheel. So what was happening is both machined each other away and it wouldn't click as far down. So when you'd hit that center click, it thought you were going da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and it would open up 500 tabs in a browser. I had a keyboard that sometimes held down F1 in software on boot. So I got thousands of Windows help pages to the point where Windows would crash and reboot. That's a fascinating, you know, when I spill stuff on keyboards, that happens because it'll like bridge the contacts. I just bought 10 of each switches that are inside my mice. I have a big bag of the default Omerons on the way, but I wanted to do the stream today because we're doing more than just replacing the buttons. You can buy these Omeron switches all day, every day, and that's the switches that they put on the clicky parts of these mice. My Rival 500, the one with a little OLED screen in it, very similar to the OLED screen that's in my keyboard now. The one with a little screen in it, you could draw little pictures of stuff. You can say, fuck you, on the side of it. It's great. But so it was this wonderful little mouse and I was having the time of my life. I'm having so much fun. And then all of a sudden it just died. Just like that. It just went, and disappeared, right? What the hell? I don't know if like a neutrino was coming in through the earth and instead of hitting that giant underground body of water that the Japanese have, that pure water with like 10,000 cameras looking for a tiny little blue flash that would happen when a neutrino goes through basically the whole planet and happens to bump one of the atoms of water. Maybe that happened inside the microcontroller for that mouse. It just went doo-doo-doo-doo and went boink, oops, sorry. And that turned a 1 into a 0 and my mouse went from functioning to completely and utterly unfixable. Then comes along the Rival 600 and I'm having the time of my life. I'm able to add weights to this one so that it feels nice. Then all of the rubber on the sides, as is typical for these Rival mice, just disintegrates. It either I wear through it or it becomes super duper shiny and gross. And then for some reason, the adhesive on any of the rubber starts to peel off. So in that sense, I was like, man, this sucks. I got rid of the rubber. I think I replaced it once because they sell that kind of thing on like Amazon. But didn't really work out. I decided to I put my trust in a company called Dragon Grip, and they make this hexagonally pattern cutout, which is really unfortunate for what my use. Ew. Gross. Hold on. We're just gonna just kind of, don't worry about that stuff. That's clean. You don't get to see this in focus. It's just, don't worry about it. Ugh, it's like a popping video. Anyway, the rubber grips were coming off, and so I tried this stuff called Dragon Grip. And although it was a pain in the ass, I also used a hair dryer to make sure that it really stuck on. Like, I cleaned everything with alcohol, and then I used a hair dryer to really stick it on. That's been pretty good. That's so much worse. Don't pay any attention to it. It's just, what the heck? What was on my thumb? Was that from that stuff? Ew. Get it off. Get it off. Get it off. Ew. What is that? It's like earwax for some reason. Why would earwax make it to my mouse? I don't know. I can't answer these questions. Asthma cleaning content. And that was yesterday, or last stream rather. It's just Vegemite. Yeah, it's just Vegemite. You guys like Vegemite, right? It's just Vegemite. Just particles. Well, that little piece is never going back on. Yellow chain smoker's finger. I don't chain smoke, man. I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you. I think it's just like skin cells. I think it's just buildup of, because it's a sticky material and it's all like going to shit. Anyway, I probably could use like grippy tape on this. That would probably be the good thing to use. Just some gaffer's tape. I think I did use gaffer's tape at one point and it came off and got gross. Such is the fate of an object that I hold every day. You guys can't talk. Look at your cell phone. Put your Clippy the Clipper. Put your own damn cell phone up against the microscope. Problem also is that this is black plastic, and so it makes the camera kind of blow out the exposure, and then that makes things look even dirtier. I'm not a slob. I'm not a slob. I'm quite clean. Anyway, if you couldn't tell, this mouse needs a little bit of love. And that double clicking problem has started to really get on my nerves. What happens is you'll click something and you'll accidentally double click it. So it'll open and close things in rapid succession and generally just kind of mess with you. It's just kind of gaslighting you into thinking that you're clicking stuff wrong. My cell phone is clean. I wipe that shit regularly. Yeah, and you're also a liar. All right, anyway, so this thing I liked. I could put weights in it. It had a little bit of inertia to it because of the weights. The trend is apparently to get lighter, and I don't like that. I'm basically in the Jurassic Park camp where is it heavy? Yeah, then it's expensive. Put it back. I want it to be heavy and expensive feeling so that I can get my mouse to position accurately by using my intense muscles. These things, man, they're friggin' pythons, shotguns. Anyway, ow, that kind of hurt a little bit. I did something the other week where you guys heard me do it on camera because I was back there at the parts section. I was picking up like a box of screws, all of the weird things, and I was like, I almost dropped it. And so I very quickly tried to grab it again. And for some reason that really strained my bicep and it still hurts. It's like a really deep tendon pull. But that was like months ago, so I don't know what the hell I did. It was like really trying to suddenly rapidly grip something, tore something in my bicep. I don't know what that was. I guess it'll eventually go away. The double clicking triggers me. I've never had the problem before, but it came up months ago with this mouse and it's been doing it since. But today, it didn't do it. Getting old? I'm not old, I'm in my prime, man. I'm going to lose a bunch of weight. I've been on the path of weight loss. I'm going to lose a bunch of weight, and then I'll probably have to get fit, and then maybe I'll need skin surgery to put it back. But I'm tired of being a big fat guy. I think eventually I'm going to try to be a thin person. Probably won't happen. I'll just be a normal weight. It's intentionally there. Both Razer and Logitech have specified parts that are meant to fail. I was going to machine a brass Omeron button for the scroll wheel, but like SteelSeries failing on me, it's been a different failure every time. It's been the super duper like 10,000 click center wheel, the mouse just basically giving up on life, all the rubber pads coming off and becoming stupid and disgusting, and then now I get double click. And if double click is one of the more fixable things in mice. Let's see if we can show this phenomenon. Weight conditioning might help get the bicep more blood flow. I don't, my biceps are not that fatty. I'm pretty much just a beach ball with arms and legs. and I've got to get rid of the beach ball now, which is very difficult to do. I'm making slow progress, but my latest weigh-in went backwards, and it's still within the margin of error of 5 pounds, right? Give or take 5 pounds at my weight, 265 it was, which is embarrassing. But it was 260. I was like 261 point something or 260 point something. So I'm getting back to that hairy beach ball. Not much. Actually, people would constantly ask me when I used to swim as a sport. They used to, did you shave your legs? I'm like, no, I just don't have hair. All the hair is between my moobs, and that's all I've got in terms of body hair. And my ass. It definitely grows in my ass. Have you tried meth? I am ADHD, and yes, I am on meth. Vulfenidate, ER. And hey, when you stop taking it, man, you do gain weight just because you don't have the self-control. It's tough. But also being a type 1 diabetic makes dieting very difficult because you go, I am dieting, and then your body goes, you are DKA because you haven't been getting insulin. It's like, fuck. And then what I'll try to do is diet, and I'm doing really well, and then I go hypoglycemic, and oh, now I need calories in order to bring my glucose level back up, so you eat a cheesesteak. I see nothing wrong with this. No, you have orange juice or something. So that's, you can ruin a whole day of dieting that way. I've been getting exercise with the dog. I've been running with her more, and we've been walking a little further. We went a quarter of the way around the neighborhood before I couldn't get control of her anymore, and she decided to turn back. But we have definitely been getting out a lot. So that's been helping me quite a bit. And I'm no longer winded when going up a big hill. I'm getting there. And I could, of course, always get up from the floor without using my arms. That's an important thing to be able to do. So anyway, weight loss is not necessarily going to solve my Stockholm syndrome with SteelSeries. I don't know why I keep buying these things, but I want to show you guys. The double click phenomenon. It should be agnostic of software. It shouldn't matter what software I have running. For some reason, I plugged in the mouse and it completely reprogrammed itself. So I have something to complain about at the very get-go, is that their software makes moving the mouse from computer to computer very difficult, even though it seems like it shouldn't be. They really should put a little bit of flash memory in the thing so that we can actually get our settings back. But moreover, it sees that the mouse is plugged in, and I try to edit the settings and have it upload to the mouse and give me my visualization, but it just continues to do RGB. So for some reason, it's not working. Yeah, a funny thing about diabetes is if you go into fasting, you need to really know your stuff. Because if you're not getting insulin, you can go diabetic ketoacidosis from just not getting insulin. Insulin is needed for many different things. The primary use of it is to turn processed, it turns glucose into fat. You eat carbohydrates, your liver releases a little bit of glucagon, your blood glucose goes up, your body starts processing what you've eaten, it'll eventually turn that into sugar too, and then it's all returned back. The glucagon will turn fat into sugar, and then it all turns back into fat with the release of insulin. And so the insulin, that's the primary insulin mechanism, but there are some other things that happen in there. And so some other things keep your blood from becoming completely acidic, and your blood can become completely acidic with a normal glucose level. It's a thing that happens with people who take the Jardiance and stuff like that. And the Ozempic is kind of guilty of that too, because people won't eat because they don't feel hungry, and then you go into a fasting sort of diabetic ketoacidosis insipidus. But so I have to keep eating. I don't want to starve myself. I don't want to rapidly lose weight, because that can also cause all kinds of kidney and liver damage, which is where the news is right now, because they're going, ooh, look, we can poke a hole in the ego balloon of all those diet drugs that are coming out and making America slightly more healthy. They're making America more healthy, and so the weight loss industry is worried, and so the news goes, ooh, but there's a problem. People are seeing liver and kidney problems, and it's like, those are the same problems when you fast and rapidly lose weight. So I'm trying to gradually lose weight, and I kind of fucked up. I messed up, chat. I screwed it up. I gained back a little bit. Anyway, back to complaining about the mouse not working right. Somewhere in the Discord, I believe, in my stream projects section, I can scroll up and find, where is that program? It is this one here. Mouse events test page, basic version. UnixPapa.com. Why is it always, why do I use GIMP to edit an image? Why is it Unix Papa? Linux people are never shaking the allegations at this point. Slash JavaScript JS slash testmouse.html. We're going to open up the fancy mouse in just a bit. I need to, this theory of operation. Click here to test. This is the, so this is the, what do you call it? The 3D connection mouse. You can see mouse up, mouse down, mouse up, mouse down, and it says click. It will identify a double click rapidly. That was me doing it. So let's clear. And now that I've got this mouse plugged in, there it is. Click here to test. Okay, it just did it. Okay, clear, click, 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 click. Didn't do it. Okay, clear, click, click. So this pretty much starts to paint the picture of moisture being the enemy, because it was kind of a rainy-ish kind of day here, and it heated up a little bit, so there's a little bit more moisture in the air. There's two types of diabetes. One is sugar's always low, the other's always high. That's a broad, vast oversimplification. You don't need to oversimplify it that much. Type 1 and type 2 diabetes are two separate things that have the same symptom, which is the melatoma. No, that's the different thing. Diabetes mellitus or something like that, which is back in the old days, the doctor would be just a massive pervert, and he would go, hey, pee on this. Pee on that. Yeah, pee right there. Oh, yeah. And they would see whether or not it's sweet, which is disgusting. But they would see whether or not your piss was sweet, because your body is dumping carbohydrates any way it can, and it'll dump it through the kidneys. And so your urine ends up being sweet. That is the sort of the original symptom. And they said, your kid will be dead in a couple months, and it's going to be an absolutely like excruciatingly painful death as their blood turns into acid. Wouldn't wish it on my worst enemies. But type 1 and type 2 diabetes. The type 1 diabetic does not produce insulin. The type 2 diabetic does not produce insulin that they can appreciably get over carbohydrates with. And I say it in such vague terms because I'm a vague poster. No, I say it in such vague terms because there's a couple different mechanisms that can cause type 2. There's a couple different mechanisms that can cause type 1. Anything could be like a necessary cause, which is why the only way they've been able to like cure type 1 diabetes is by using things like a genetic profile and CRISPR in order to change your immune system a little bit. Because the typical type 1 diabetes thing is that their immune system attacked the part of their pancreas that makes insulin. The pancreas it's a jello mold of various glands. It is the most frightening thing for a surgeon to come up against because it is a very vascular organ. And it's basically a jello mold of glands where if you touch it, the patient bleeds out and dies. That sort of jello mold of a bunch of different glands contains what are called the islets of Larange and the beta cells. And it's not because you're a beta or whatever the hell the manosphere fucking talks about all the time. Betas and alphas are not ready for release. I don't know why everybody wants to categorize people as this. Like, anyway, point is they're called the beta cells and they produce insulin. The immune system in the typical type 1 diabetic has attacked those beta cells and killed them. And so there is no insulin being produced. In a type 2 diabetic, there are many different mechanisms that may cause resistance to insulin or underproduction of insulin. It is either or. It is a vast, broad category, and it is not necessarily caused by fat. That's the quick rundown on type 1 and type 2 diabetes. Don't read any of the comments. Shut up, everybody. Jeez, this man knows his diabetes. I'm so impressed. I've had diabetes for 31 years. 31 years. Wait, actually, 32 years. Ooh. What do omegas do? Those are fatty acids from fish, right? Okay, lots of chat moving as I try to actually explain something. You guys were not paying attention and you were typing things. Streamer man going crazy, yes. I'm trying to quickly explain. diabetes. But that's the rundown. That is a gross oversimplification. All that stuff that I just said. My pancreas is filled with sigma cells. They all have these pointy chins. I only know I got spontaneous hyperinsulinism every now and then, but it never showed up on blood tests. Easily fixable with a sip of Coke. Yeah, that's a crazy one. I would love to be able to hyperproduce insulin every now and then. I can't make any. Actually, sometimes I swear my pancreas comes back to life and I'm able to produce just a little bit of insulin now and then. I don't know if that's actually going on, but the pancreas is also the worst part to get cancer in. Yeah, that's why pancreatic cancer gets a lot of focus. Yeah. You can't feel anything there. Yeah, in your organs, yeah. And so, yeah, suddenly you've got advanced cancer. There, that was a double click. You guys saw that? Here, let's get back down here. You guys can see me clicking. Nope. Come on, baby. Okay. That was a double click. Yeah, that was right off the bat. So you can see it's happening, but it's a little less it's hard to reproduce. I'll try to be really animated with this so you guys can actually see the phenomenon. Of course, hitting it harder probably means it's less. What if I hit it too rapidly like this, it'll say double click, so. There, that was a double click. What if you got a $10 office mouse and replace its sensor and buttons? What? What? I mean, yeah, I could do that. You guys need to review your ideas in your head before sharing them. Just at least once, just so you can put the kibosh on that. Just put the bosh on it a little bit. Pump the brakes, maybe. Just pump the brakes. All right. So we've seen it double click, right? No. Come on, just do it. Just do it. I think if I'm hitting it harder, it's actually making contact. This has been subtle, but some days it does it constantly. That was I may have hit it too quickly. I have hit it at times, because you guys, it's hard for you to see that I'm hitting the button. G502 does this, so annoying. So supposedly, a fix for it is just to breathe on the mouse. So if I actually grab the mouse and I go, oh, I clicked on something. Glad we cleaned it out before doing that. Supposedly, that is going to fix it. Can you guys can't hear the clicking, can you? I need like I need like a little mic that I could put next to it. Trusty old gaming technique. You know, that was because of the flexible cable that they put in the back of the cartridge system. If I had known that, I wouldn't have spent all that time blowing my freaking cartridges and ruining them with all the moisture from my stupid mouth. The Famicom didn't suffer from this because they had a vertical slot. I mean, I don't perceive it as double clicking right now. It really doesn't seem like it is. Maybe depending on, oh. That one didn't get the mouse up. Oh, see, if I mouse off of the button, then it doesn't register it. If you see it roll in twice, that means that it's double clicked. It feels like it's not double clicking. I don't subscribe to this moisture theory. I don't think it's real, but I also haven't been able to prove the double clicking. Okay, regular intervals. If we see double click, then I don't see any double clicks. I'm going to click faster. As in hit the button faster. Oops. Clear. Okay, wait a minute. It is, I think my clicks are registering as double. Yeah, it registers as double when I click it too quickly. All right, so anyway, that was right there, right at the end. That was a double click. That was one press and it double clicked. So I don't think I actually got moisture into the body of the Switch. You're gonna see how absurd the breathe on it theory is in terms of providing it with moisture, because there's not gonna be very many avenues for air to exchange into these switches in typical use. So let's take this mouse apart. Let's see what makes it tick. Let's take a look at the STM32F103 that powers it. Stupid microcontroller that I can't get away from for some reason. It's plaguing me. So this is a, SteelSeries mouse. They've moved away from having labels over the screws, but they actually have the pads are over the screws that we need to access. So I need to remove these pads. I don't have a sheet of wax paper on me, so I'm just gonna have to transfer them to a good home until we're done working on this. The event is down, up, click. That's just how they're interpreting it, I think. Having pads over the screws is way worse. It's just what everybody does these days. They want to hide those screws, because if you see screws on a device, you're apparently not going to buy it. I saved some by using a scalpel to make holes for the screw axis. That's not a bad idea. You can buy these. You can buy these on Amazon. They'll be pre-cut for the mouse that you use them on. And you can get ones that are a little bit more long-lasting and slippery. That's what these are, and they're wearing down on my mouse, but they're pretty good. I don't think there's a label that says that. What do we have on the bottom here? We do have all of our certifications and stuff like that. Oops, that's the wrong one. Oh, clicked on the wrong one. That would have been seamless. Goes from that to that. Hopefully your mouse isn't like my Logitech. It has like 20 screws I've never seen in a device like this. SteelSeries is no stranger to strange design. Aren't these made in Ingerland? Or designed in Ingerland? But Rival 600, 5 volts, 200 milliamps, etc., etc. Made in China, designed in Denmark by SteelSeries. Okay, so maybe not Ingerland. Maybe Denmark. Ask me how I know. SteelSeries Deutsche Passisale 27 5 Sol 2000 Frederiksberg, Denmark? Oh, that's just their address. I thought it was made in 2000. No, this is like 2016, 2020 probably. Someone said Denmark earlier. Yeah, I didn't catch that. So anyway, there's weights in this mouse and they just kind of fit into rubber, and then the magnets on the sides hold it together. I like that design. It means you can weight up your mouse and give it a little momentum, because this feels cheap now. I don't know about the removable panels. I think it is clever to put your device together with magnets. I would have liked if I could take this thing all the way down to its bones using the magnets, because that would be funny. You could get really mad at it and just pull your mouse apart, and then the esports guys would go crazy. But yeah, these magnet into the sides, and they're pretty good. They're in a place where it doesn't really pick up on stuff on the desk. Although taking them out just made them pick something up. So I'm going to use tweezers, and I'm going to get in under the corners here and peel this thing up. Tweezers mean that I don't get my finger oils all over them. Danemark is the ponytail of Germany. What? You're not talking about the Danes? Yeah, so sticky crap is going to be left over. That's just what happens. But this is going to get transferred to somewhere that won't get in the way. I'm going to put it up here, my fusible link sign. So there are the screws. And hopefully these go back on nice. Otherwise, I'm going to have to buy a kit of them. Probably should have done that ahead of time. It reminds me of the Batmobile from Batman Returns. The one with the blue lighting inside of it. That would be kind of cool. I don't understand why SteelSeries made it so you can still use it while plugged in. Take an idea from Apple. Put the port on the bottom of the mouse. This isn't the wireless version. I can't stand wireless mice. I know they're good, but whatever. The sides fly off and it turns into a bike. That wasn't Batman Forever. Oh, Batman Returns. Sorry, wrong one. Wrong one. Wrong Batman. All right, so I've done this before, but we're going to do it again. And this time we're actually going to take a close look at the switches. We will take them out. Like, not like an assassin. I mean, we're going to remove them, and then we'll open them up. I know, jab at the magic mouse. That is some engineering from Apple. I don't know what they were thinking there. But with that USB-C port on the bottom, I wonder if you could get one of those charging pads and plug it in on the bottom and paste it to the mouse, and then have like a hole in it for the sensor, and still use the mouse while it's on a wireless charger. Hold on, I've got powdered green tea in water. Oh, if it's plugged in, it fully disables the mouse. I've heard the Apple fanboys talking about that, and they're like, it only takes a couple minutes for it to charge, so you just plug it in, and you could probably unplug it and finish whatever you're doing, and then let it charge. And it's like, but it's a completely evil feature. Like, it's the dumbest thing that I've ever seen. Patent that right now. People with like the using the Wacom tablet. Well, actually, they have a mouse for the Wacom tablet already, but you could. I saw somebody who was making it so that they had an ultralight mouse that used the Wacom tablet, and so it just had like coils in it that would be activated when you hit the buttons and stuff. Yeah, it's something that really just should have been given the Bosch during a design review. All right, so we got these stupid flat cable connectors in order to do the LEDs. I guess they didn't decide to have like a big umbilical going from the top to the bottom. They have a couple pins over here that go into a header, and then they have all of these flat cables. I'll show you guys. I will show you guys. My dog is going crazy. There's construction going on next door, and so she has a ton of stuff to bark at, which is unfortunate because the barking is very distracting for your intrepid streamer. But she gets to do it. It's fine. She's a dog. She'll bark. Dogs bark. Did you guys know that? They bark at stuff all the time. Almost constantly. Yeah, she wants to eat the construction. Given how scared she is of things lately, I'm actually shocked that she's brave enough to bark. She's afraid of the ice cube tray now. She used to love the ice cube tray. So, the bane of my existence, the STM32F103 with an external crystal. We've got logo LED. I do like that they label everything very nicely in these. Everything is very nicely labeled. 2017? How old is my mouse? How long have I had this thing for? Usually SteelSeries mice just have one like send off. They're just like, well, I'm done, and then they just break. They just never function again for me. This one has had some longevity to it. I keep repairing it. It has a USB micro, which is even more heinous than anything else that we see here. And then up front, we've got the two clicky buttons, and those have the SteelSeries logo, and they appear to be quite worn down, which may be, especially this one that's double clicking, you can see a little flat spot on that nub. STM32, are you adding CAN to it? I could. I could reprogram it. Let's get a pin out. Let's start reverse engineering the pinout. Why is it hairy in there? Because I use the mouse and I have a dog. And if you have a dog, you would know dog hair gets everywhere. But to the point of moisture getting into the switches by just breathing on them, how? Like, everything is sealed. The front of the mouse is sealed not incredibly well. All the stuff gets in from the scroll wheel, basically. The scroll wheel scrolls, and then it deposits a bunch of bullshit down onto the board. I'm not going to take any of this stuff apart because I don't have to. We don't really have to replace all the buttons in this thing. It's just one. And I don't really want to replace the button. I don't know if I want to make... Maybe I want to swap them right and left. You know what? Fair. Yeah. So, you know. So in any design, you want to have the actual actuator for the button spring itself open instead of relying on the button to spring itself and the thing pressing it back. You want to have a springiness to it so that you get more of the visceral click. So this thing, of course, jeez, what is this? What is this? This is from when I was rubbing my mouse in my crotch. All right. So that sort of hinges back up, and it is limited by a little piece of plastic that sticks into kind of a hoop. And then the hoop on the bottom here, that's what clicks against the Omron contact. You see a little blue on it from where. This would be the right click. This is the one that's showing its age. And it looks like it's probably a mechanical problem because this looks a little bit domed. And there's a hair. There's a hair right there. Ay, ay, ay. I start the stream off by saying I'm really not hairy, but I have a giant beard and I have a corgi. And corgis, if you guys didn't know, shed. And I have a fluffy corgi, moreover, which is a breed of corgi known for their long hair. It's an all-terrain mouse. What does that even mean? Is that crust? Oh my god. Well, my stream title was correct. This is very gross. I haven't been having any troubles except for the left click. So, oh my god, what the hell? Pseudo-Maze, thank you for subscribing. That scroll wheel looks flavorful. Yeah, it does. I haven't seen it up close in a little while. It's been in kind of the dark corner of my... Whoa. I didn't know these were flavor savers. Oh boy. All right, we got a brief new project. Sorry everybody, but this is going to be gross. I did not know that these were holding on to that stuff. Woof. Yeah, welcome to my popping stream. R popping needs to see this. R/popping. Great V with the wheel? Great T, is that what you're trying to say? I would power wash that under a sink. Moisture is not awesome for a mouse. And getting something that's this shape off of the thing that captures it is tough. I could continue to take apart the mouse, and then I would be able to get the rubber piece off, and then I could probably wash it in the sink. You guys never cleaned out the rollers on your mouse? The little rollers for the mouse ball? Take out the little mouse ball, and then you pop off all the crud from the roller? That's the whole French fry. Fuck you. You live in a glass house. My mic roller? These little Aphex Twins apparently hold on to crud in a way that I've never seen before. Hey, it'll be nice and clean now. Because what I do is I wipe this thing down with a paper towel and Windex and let it, dry. And I didn't know that these were a little bit three-dimensional and that the paper towel and the Windex didn't really clean them out. At least it comes out with gusto. It's like a popping video. I don't know why I end up on that subreddit late at night to see popping videos. They're disgusting. It is oddly satisfying as it's not leaving a whole lot behind. at least. Love to stir. Y'all nasty. Like I can talk, but y'all nasty. This is why gamers don't show their peripherals on stream. Robots did a keyboard cleanup one time and it was horrifying. So I decided to do keyboard cleanups this week. It turns out that everything touching my desk was absolutely filthy. I'm not a filthy person. I just live in the results of filth. So it seems to me that a deeper clean is in order. Most people would have thrown out this mouse by now. I'm keeping it pumping because SteelSeries mice are not cheap. And I don't like $30 mice. I'm eating a cutie is maybe not something you want to type into Twitch chat. Maybe you just want to go and do that lady proud. Or you know what? You didn't specify gender, so I should say whatever you're doing, keep it to yourself, but have fun. Hopefully everybody's having fun. But they probably need your undivided attention. So, you know, I don't need to hear it. Yeah. Okay, we're almost there. We're almost there. The horror is almost complete. The horror, we're almost through the horror. I said gross in the thumbnail for YouTube, you know? Did I say gross on Twitch? Maybe I didn't. YouTube definitely has it in the title. I got my G502 Logitech for the last 12 years, still running. Worn out through the whole rubber, the plastic on the side. That's where the SteelSeries mice kind of go to. You wear through the rubber on the sides. It becomes smooth and shiny, and then you wear through it. And I replaced it with something called Dragon Grip. Using a hairdryer and a knife, I was able to replace it with something called Dragon Grip. And that's held up pretty well in lieu of the rubber pad. You can buy, if you're lucky, if your mouse is popular enough, you can buy new pads and stuff, and you can replace it again, you know, remove it, clean it, put a new one in. Looks like avocado skin. It's probably skin cells mostly. To be fair, it's probably also oil and stuff. It's the same crud that you get in your ears, you know, like buildup of skin particles. You're just trying to gross everybody out. I'm not going to read that. I am not going to succumb to intentional gross out content unless it's relevant to my pursuit of electronics. And or gets me an extra viewer. If it got me one viewer, no, I'm not going to make, you know, toilet wine or anything. This is as close as we get because we're cleaning out an electronics peripheral. I got my mouse during my senior year of high school. I'm in year 3 of college. Consider, if it's not held together with plastic snaps, consider getting new pads for the bottom and maybe doing a clean out like I am, because there's no way that thing isn't disgusting. It's probably got like weed in it and like gross dirt, skin cells all over. Yeah, I'm starting to notice that too. What is that? Is that crud? It's crud. It's crud. It's crud. I hate to break it to you, Chad. It's crud. Woof. Oh man, this is something. Hold on, this is an emergency hyper clean out of this thing. The keyboard cleaning, by the way, the toothbrushing that we did, all it did was spread the stuff out. I mean, we removed a lot of it. But it left behind like a residue that made some of the keys stick. And so what I should have done at the end of that is given it a quick little alcohol, like a rubbing alcohol bath, invert it and then spray it with the electronics cleaning alcohol. And that would have allowed all that sticky stuff to go away. The keys I got mostly back in. I did them partially from memory, and then I kind of had a couple places where I had to double check. Belt grip? I don't know if I'm going to add substances to this. This thing grips just fine. Hold on. Whew. This thing grips just fine. This is tough because this is kind of an indictment of how I've lived my life. And everybody goes, ew, gross. And it's like, do you live in a glass house? I'm laid bare for all of the viewers here. I think some of the like Windexing has gotten under the rubber, and so the rubber seems to be pretty slippery on this, on the scroll wheel itself. Woof. I mean, the best way to clean this would probably be to take the whole thing out and just give it a scrub, but I'm doing kind of the half-assed way. Yeah, that's basically what it is. I mean, I have been cleaning the mouse. I just don't take a toothbrush to it every day. And you should talk. You should look at your phones, guys. Your phones are filthy. Everyone's phone is filthy. You get to brush your mouse. All right, feel a little better about that. We're still clicking? God, that feels weak. I could replace that switch too. Oh, it feels weak because the circuit board is bending. Who designed this mouse? There, that feels a lot better. Yeah, so what I'll do is I will accidentally have greasy hands and touch my mouse, and then I'll see my mouse all greasy, and I'll go, I'm not that filthy, this is disgusting. And then I'll spray Windex onto a paper towel and wipe off the whole mouse. And I guess that seems to drive some detritus into things. Like right there, I can see a whole bunch of detritus. Detritus. Yeah, see that seam right there is grabbing a lot of stuff. I use this every day for multiple hours, so it's no wonder that it gets disgusting. Febreze the cheese? No. Febreze doesn't clean things. It just makes things smell like Febreze poop. Like, I see crud in there, but I can't really scoop it out. I'm not having luck with that. Okay. Well, it's not perfect, but who is? Yeah, these are like a special little tiny one. What was that? Celia Russo. Sub tier 1. 102 months. Hold on. Get this from Nast. I can't believe that was sitting in my scroll wheel. Yeah, it's real easy to get in chat and act like your shit don't stink. But your shit stinks. I've smelled it before. That freaky, freaky night. Kitty jail. Hilarious. Okay, so double-clicking issues. We got a little sidetracked by how filthy the mouse has become. I'm as shocked as chat. Well, I'm not really shocked, but I'm also as grossed out as chat. Basically, just stuff gets everywhere, you know? Let's get this wiped off. I don't even know what all this friggin' earwax stuff is. It's probably skin cells and oil just from using that. But man, this is, it's like new. All my little Aphex Twin logos are now free of nastiness. That was something else. Oh, and here, the sidetrack here. Having a variety of dentistry, or they were advertised as clay working, but dentistry tools and picks and tweezers and tooth bry really helps this whole process go more smoothly. Skin cells and oil, yeah. Aren't we all, though? Just, we're not really dust in the wind, we're skin cells in oil. Mostly bags of water. Okay. Super clean forever. No chance there's dirt anywhere. The front of this mouse could use a little cleaning. There's some nastiness that the scroll wheel had deposited in there, but I don't think I'm going to concern myself with that right now. It seems like the very next thing that goes wrong with this mouse will kill it. Do you have a traditional electronics alcohol dispenser? No, I have a little tank that I fill up and then I use compressed air to pressurize it, and that stays pressurized for months. I may need to buy new pads for this mouse. These will probably get me through today, but I'll order another set of these. I use a refillable bottle, and then that has, you can fill it with whatever, but it has this thing that comes out of the front that allows me to squirt it. Let me show you guys how I squirt. One sec, I gotta squirt for chat. Hold on, where is that? There it is. These little guys. Brand doesn't matter anymore. It'll slap a sticker on anything. But it's this stainless steel bottle that has a bike pressure fitting, and then you can pull this thing out and squirt, or you can spray. And this has held pressure for months. So you fill it up to, I like mostly up the way, and then I do 100 PSI out of a pressure regulator onto the end, and then I have squirt. But I'm running out. It's way at the bottom now, so this doesn't squirt as reliably. Plus, I don't really want to use alcohol because I want that adhesive to stay adhesive. It's like kind of bad. I might need to put double-sided tape on it, but we want to preserve that a little bit. Okay, so anyway, let's remove stuff until the motherboard of the mouse is out. Mouse is in the house. All right, this guy here. Ooh, these are very small. They're very flat, very small panhead screws. What we're going to do is we're going to remove the two switches, and we'll take a look at them under the microscope. We'll look at both of them. Only the one is doing the double clicking thing, but I think it's a mechanical failure. I do not think it is a moisture failure, because the internet, I looked up the problem, and the internet went moist, and I said, I don't know about that, because I've had weird clicking issues with SteelSeries mice before, and it revolves around mechanical wear on the parts. You can only do so much to prevent mechanical wear in a system that's made up of plastic. The possibility exists that we would be doing something with a dielectric grease inside of the switch, and that might help solve it a little bit. Or, well, I don't know. I can't really do much to the plastic mechanically. I put a dollop of UV epoxy on top of it. That would be weird. Anything that I could do would be like a piece of Captain tape on top of the switch. But that would just open up the field for it to release itself and mess everything up again. Okay, getting there. Getting there, Haas and Pfeffer Incorporated. Kind of want to, let's do a little squirt. See a screw, remove a screw? Yeah. That's a little squirt. It's hard to get that thing to squirt anymore. You really got to finesse it. Takes a while. Got to be in the right mood. Yeah, it's going to clean up some of the stuff that the scroll wheel was pooping down upon the Mobo here, the main board. Taste tests. No. You guys are trying to jump in that gross train to get credit for being the grossest. I will not be awarding a grossest person of stream award today. It's because of you guys. I was gonna. Why is my thumbnail yellow? What the fuck? Hold on. Did I like dip my finger in turmeric? What happened? It doesn't look like that. All right. So, oh boy, many months of use and abuse on this thing. And the switches are in a tiny little board. Oh, I need to clean that off too. Ooh, that's an important sensor. That's the lift sensor. And so if that has trouble working, if I break it, then the mouse will think it's lifted, and I'll have to go into the settings and correct a bunch of stuff. Okay, it's a little better. Let's scrape that, buddy. Where's the pin tool? What have I done? Where'd the pin tool go? Did I put it in a logical place? No, I put it behind the Windex bottle. It's over here. I got it. I found it. Oh yeah, that's crud. That's all crudded up. Nasty. All right, anyway. I don't want to poke this. This is, I think, a laser distance sensor. And I think I have a board with one of these on it. I don't know if it's the same one. They must have been just hunting around for like sensors they could put on the mouse, and they decided to have one that does like lift. And when you lift up the mouse, it stops it from getting position data so that your mouse doesn't fly all over the place. Cheeto dust erosion. I don't eat Cheetos. I'm a type 1 diabetic, you fucking nerds. Why would I eat stuff like that? You gotta give all this insulin for it. Left click, flat spot. So moisture, it's not moisture. I can definitively say that it is a mechanical issue, and that's probably what most people are dealing with when they have the double click issue. Is breathing on your mouse is not, moisture is not gonna get all the way into the body of the Switch. I can say that because I know what the Switches are like. Get uncomfortably close. So these have their own little SteelSeries brand. It's probably mostly meaningless. Supposedly they work for 60,000 clicks. But the body of the Switch has a lot of overlapping plastic. And so you're not really going to be able to get moist air in there unless you're able to close your lips around the Switch itself. And on a typical mouse design, you are several layers of plastic away from being able to do that. That moisture really isn't going to get in there. No, the big culprit here is that flat spot. I've left clicked so much that it has caused a flat spot to form on the Omeron Switch. We're going to look in my parts bins and see if I've got another Omeron that I can swap just the button part into, and we can keep the same internals actually on it. But let's desolder this one so that we can put it under the knife and we can learn how these types of switches work. Because I think that would be a fun aside for this stream. You see, the one that does work, it's starting to form a flat spot, actually. Nice big clunk to that. Actually, it's a very light clunk. Tick-tock, I can hear it. How do the weird switches that I bought? I found these that were a little bit more expensive. And they're fancy, and they got clear sides. They seem to have a different click to them. Print the button. I was going to make one out of brass because I was so annoyed at my rival, or whatever SteelSeries mouse I used to have. I was so mad at it. These are special. These are even lighter than the SteelSeries ones. I might use these. I might swap them in just to see if I like them. All right, so let's get these ones out of here. We're going to remove both of them because if I'm replacing one, I'll replace both. This is a cursed PCB. I don't know about these people making their mice. I can't do the scroll wheel because it's a different switch. So the side buttons are on these slightly differently designed Omerons. That's a weird one. It's got a whole board that sticks up weird. But it's like a 2-pin and a different size. Same with this one here. Actually, wait, that one's 3 pins. That one might be the same. I could be wrong. Bum bum bum. Oh, well, we're hey, oh, oh, oh no 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 no. Oh no, oh no, oh no 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 no. This is all coming out. Oh no no no. There's a whole dog inside of my mouse. I got that dog in the mouse. No, 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 no. No, 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 oh, no. No, no, no. Yeah, that's where all the dog hair goes. A whole dog and a cat. Okay, plug, unplug. Always unplug the plug for the pluggy plugs. Oh, you know what? I loosened the scroll wheel from the base instead of, okay, so those two of these got to go back in. That was the wrong move, Hoss. And then, what's the different one? Those two were for what? And there's like one that holds it in, I guess. What does all do? Okay, that one, yeah, that one held that in. This one held in. This should come out. Unless I'm missing something. Yeah, so you can't really get to these are a different design. I guess I do have to get rid of it, but why isn't it coming out the top then? Probably because it's something is snapped in a weird way. That should come with. That should be coming out. Something is keeping the left-hand side in. Oh, it's the LED thing. It has to like twist away. So I actually have to remove the PCB down here as well. Because it kind of comes in and has like a hook for the LEDs. Ah, okay. So it's completely bonkers. Oh, nasty. All kinds of nasty. So the LED thing comes down like that. Maybe I need to get these out. And for that, I think I release these. I don't really remember doing this before, but there were a lot of places that things were kind of weird. At least we can get it clean. There we go. Yeah, see, those are removable from there. So I can get some of that crud out. Whoa! Oh! You guys don't want to see this. You don't want to look. It's bad. It's real bad. There's like spider eggs. Oh, the worst. The worst. It's like dandruff. I don't even have dandruff. There's dandruff in here. Nasty. Nasty. There's like dust bunnies coming out of this thing. Oh. Hey, at least we got to it. It's clean now. Yeah, see, this is the LED circuit board for the scroll wheel LED, and that comes out from the top, and then that gets out of the way. And then that gets out of the, there we go, and then the whole thing falls over. Okay, so that's not terrible. Not terrible. It's not great. It's going to need a little alcohol, though. Don't we all after this? Just throwing mine away. I'll be making a trip to Best Buy after work. That's not a bad strategy, Belly Arms. This is from years and years of scrolling with this thing. And it was an expensive purchase, and I am too stubborn to allow myself to make another expensive purchase. So I'm cleaning it out. It's not interrupting the operations actually necessary to clean it. Nasty. 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 Disgusting. Yeah, well, you know, same place as my keyboard, and you guys saw the state of that keyboard. Oh. Oh. Okay, well, let's get cleaning. It's going to need its own cleaning operation. And this is an entire dog and cat. Dog und Kitty. In here. Da on the mouse. What is that? Is that like a bearing? Oh, it's something that's catching a lot of hair. Okay, where's my pick? Maybe the knife. Maybe the knife. I'm calling the adoption center for 3 dogs. Yeah, reserve a head. For 3 dog. Ow, ow. Boink. Why must you torture me? Why must you torture me in this way? What was going on here? Because whatever's going on here is not going on here anymore. It's like an alien. It needs a fade. I need to give it a haircut. This might be from... When did I get this mouse? It wasn't 2017. The design seems to be from 2017. What in the hell happened here? If there was some kind of a gasket, it is now just hair. Like, I don't even know what I'm seeing. Was there string around it in order to make it slide? Some say his mouse has a beard. Ew. I need better grippy tweezies. Maybe the pointy ones will do better. Oh, these will grip. These are grippy ones. These will be good. Grippier and smaller. I don't know how much I can call corgi hair. I don't know how much I can call pubic hair. I don't know how much I can call beard hair at this point. Ooh, new tweezers feel weird. You know, I'm like not used to it. Hit it with a lighter. No, because I'm not smelling that shit. I know what burnt hair smells like. Oh my God. You know, it's probably just a beard hair. It's probably just a beard hair. Dear God in heaven, what is this? Well, you know, I wanted cursed content for today, and I think we've achieved that pretty nicely. Pretty definitively, we've decided to... We really leaned into kind of the gross out content for today. This is nasty and completely crazy that this would come out of my mouse. This is a computer mouse, by the way, that we're cleaning out. This would be the scroll wheel that seems to have captured literally anything that it could. Small animals, dust particles, spider eggs. It's all in here. Take this as a lesson when you have scroll wheel issues. Let me break it to you. I didn't have any scroll wheel issues. The scroll wheel was working perfectly fine. Whereas in other SteelSeries mice, I've had the scroll wheel fail. This one was going strong, which is a testament to their design. Burn it with thermite. Back in the phone freaking days, you know, the days of Bananadyne and the Anarchist's Cookbook, I remember they were talking about one of those freaking devices to get into the phone system, and it had, you know, all kinds of stuff that it did, but if it was seized by the police, they were able to activate thermite inside of the device. And now that I know a little bit more about thermite, I know how absurd that is. That's completely balls. Like, there's no way you would have a device that would have a thermite detonator inside of it, because thermite is ridiculously hard to actually get going. When you get it going, it does not stop, but getting it going requires something like a magnesium fuse, and it's basically a sparkler, right? You can't light it that easily. It needs a lot of energy, and so a battery operated device that you built in, you know, 1992 is not going to have enough oomph to get thermite going by any means electronically. Okay, that was disgusting. Didn't you mention that clicking the mouse wheel was a little funky? That was in an old mouse, an old SteelSeries mouse that I owned before this one. What had happened to that one is that, yeah, that was unbelievable. I don't know what the hell that was. That's where a piece of plastic contacts the scrolling wheel. And so this thing is held on a rotational thing, rotational sense, an encoder, rotational encoder. And then this end over here is floating over top of, where is it? Nasty. Floating over top of a button. And you see here, it's machining a little divot into the button. We're going to clean this up in just a sec. It's machining a little divot into the button. When it does that enough, the scroll wheel will not be able to click down all the way. And it'll count as a partial click, which will make it click 10,000 times. But that's not happening to this one. I mean, it is happening to this one, but it has not happened yet on this mouse. I still have good scroll wheel clicking. It looks like it's going to happen soon, and when it does, this mouse is going in the garbage, and I'm going to buy a new one, because this is cell phone levels of crap. You guys, we're looking at this with a microscope, and I'm facing all of my problems head on. This is something that I do. Being a type 1 diabetic, I do not pull punches on myself. I face the problem. I come to the realization. I go to the doctor. You cannot run from things in life. And so I'm not running from this, and I'm broadcasting it for everyone to see how abysmally disgusting this mouse has become. Abysmally disgusting. How am I going to do this part? Let's do... Don't tell me how to clean stuff, please. I know what I'm doing. I was going to do that anyway, not because you told me to. I don't like being remote piloted by my stream. Okay, now it's all over the desk. Woof. That was a trip. So what was going on is my scroll wheel was capturing all of this nastiness from my greasy, disgusting hands, and it was flinging it all over the interior of the mouse as I scrolled, because these are deep, and they were actually holding on to a significant amount of so they were able to effectively just distribute all of the disgusting stuff all over the place. You mean a Reach toothbrush? Looks great now? Not quite. I really should. I should be trying it. I should get a sponsorship from an ultrasonic cleaning brand and then just pull everything down to the plastic and go bloop and turn on the sonic cleaner. Yeah, it looks like new. It looks kind of new. At least there's not institutional disgustingness on the scroll wheel. None of it smells. I didn't touch my mouse and have it smell weird, at least. There's no smells. It looks like that part would just be floating, because you are floating. And I'm about to flush your ass. Yeah, see, it just kind of suspends itself on the two and allows you to click it down. But that's got a little bit of wear left in it. They changed the type of button that it was. They used to have one of the Omerons on there, but now it's got its own type of button. And maybe, just maybe, there's enough material sticking up there that the machining process isn't going to completely wear it away. But if you click down and scroll, you're basically rubbing these two together and hoping that your plastics don't wear. I was going to make a brass collar and make a brass button for it, like whittle myself a little brass button so it was brass on brass. Brass ass or gas, nobody rides for free. But yeah, I didn't end up doing that. I just threw the mouse out and bought another one. Good enough to keep the flavors in. Delicious. Yeah, there's some places that I'm just not going to try to get to clean. We've gotten a lot of like fur balls out of this thing so far, even before we get to the soldering part. It is nice that I'm able to take it apart enough to get it nice and clean. There appears to be a lot of sophistication in the design in this mouse. Considering SteelSeries is still making mice, and they make pretty decent mice, I would assume that all the failings in their mice would be something that they would log and try to improve on. So things like the infinite clicking scroll wheel, they probably went, well, how do we solve this without making it too expensive? And the answer was something like, this switch is taller, so it'll take longer to wear down. You know, there's 2 screws that I could release that would just separate these 2 parts, and then I'd be able to clean the little seam down in there. Probably could just do that, or you could just spend $100 and buy a new. How much are these things? Hold on, this is just gonna quickly. Let's just, if I can throw this thing into a fireplace, maybe I should just throw it into a fireplace. You know. Doody-doody-doo. Nope. Mouse. Don't like wireless. Rival 5. Wait, why is it Rival 5 and not 6? It's 40 bucks. I don't like that layout. It looks like that would be a little annoying. Yeah, because you got your forward and back, then you've got one above that, and then you've got the weird front thumb button. I mean, if it's $40 for $60, yeah, yeah. $650. This is the wireless one. $100. No way. No, we're gonna continue cleaning this mouse if that's the verdict. The wireds are usually cheaper, but like $650. Okay, that's much. Well, 89 versus 90. I mean, come on. And then it gives you a Logitech because it's just like, fuck you. Like I don't want to buy Logitech. I don't like Logitech. Rival 3 renewed. Wireless 37 bucks. Yeah, so like it would be this one that I would be able to buy, and I don't like that. I don't think I like the way the buttons are kind of inset. Oh, and it looks like it'll still capture all your skin cells. 41 looks funky and thin. Is it thin? Oh, and it doesn't have the lift sensor, which I don't know if I care about. Next gen switches. What does that even mean? They don't even show the switches. They don't even show them. What switches are you using? 80 million clicks. Yeah, okay. Are they using optical switches? That's the question. Because apparently there's Omron optical switches. I'm wondering if it's thin because the pictures have been weirdly squished. This is all the rage now, is to have a checker mark on your palm after you're done using your mouse. This is the same button layout, it's just they've got a checker pattern on your hand, because apparently gamers are sweaty as hell. $105 for the wireless. No, we're gonna fix this mouse then. I have a Rival 3, it's sitting over there. The 3D Connection mouse replaced it. It's still good, still works fine. It's a good mouse, the Rival 3. But are we, yeah, okay, so when did I buy, here, you guys are not allowed to look at this. When did I buy the SteelSeries mouse? Checker marking was less material, Jeepers. Speed. My mouse is fast as hell. 2020 is when I bought the mouse. Wait, why are there multiple Rival 310s in here? 2018 and then 2021, I bought a Rival 310. Weird. Why did I buy 2? Anyway, so I've had this one for 6 years. And I guess I'm going to keep it going. There's nothing physically wrong with it. It's just, you know, disgusting. So just throw it in a fireplace and start over. All right, so let's get these clickies out of here. Now that we're nice and clean, everybody's happy. This thing's happy. Happy. You gotta be careful with this because they didn't put any strain relief on these. Yes, my mouse used to have holes, but now it's covered in gunk. I don't know if you saw the level of detritus that we've extracted from this thing, Shorts. It's been embarrassing. It's been harrowing, the amount of, it's been basically our popping, the subreddit for popping pimples. Okay. Ugh. Okay, so let's get the switches out of here. I think the solder sucker might be doing that. So let's start up the iron. We gotta need a bigger tip. We're gonna put a big tip on the front of this thing. Our mouse cleaning. I wouldn't think twice about it. I said, wow, really? And then I'd move on with my life. And it wouldn't be all that shocking to me. Unbelievable. I can't believe that there's a feature on this little ring right here that somehow caught nothing but dog hair and maybe one of my beard hairs or a pube, and just suspended it on that thing. It's so crazy. Ugh. Nasty. I would 100% join that subreddit. I didn't think this would be interesting at all today, but here we are. All right, so solder sucker, engineer. This used to be the SSO2. We are now in the SSO3. The Enterprise got a refit. This is the Star Trek TNG font. This thing, made in Japan. It is a metal tube with a piston. The shoulder here is caught by the button. You press it in. There's a huge spring inside. And if you want to clean it out, the tip of the piston has a little clean out nub that pops out. When you press the button, the piston rockets back on the spring, creates suction. The silicon tip makes it so that you can actually trust solder suckers again. It used to be that you buy this big fluorescent Hakko thing and it had a plastic tip. And you put the plastic tip near the solder and it would freaking melt because it's plastic, right? It's just plastic. So this has a silicon rubber tip which can withstand the temperature of solder. So, you think the rings there is a sacrificial catch for all of the stuff? I don't know. Yeah, there's copies of them too. I mean, I would assume that they're probably much less expensive if you get a copy. Oh my God, it's so high up that I can't get focus on it. All right, hold on. I need to move the camera up a little bit. Yeah, the wonderful thing about the design is if you've got dielectric grease or any kind of grease, you can take the whole thing apart and clean every single piece of it and replace the O-rings. And so in doing so, completely refurbish it. The previous one that I had, the tube in here got scratched up and solder ended up sticking to that tube. Yeah, lubricating the inside, I guess the Chinese clones weren't doing that. I think this is a ground pin. I'm of a mind that this is a ground pin, and that's why I'm unable to get a lot of heat into it, which means the other side of the board might not also get enough heat into it, which means we might not get a complete suck. Actually did. Hey, lucky me. Lucky, lucky. Although there's still a little bit of surface tension. That appears to be mostly loose. Okay, so that's that one. I'm gonna use my flux syringe and add just a little bit of tacky flux to this. Oh, jeez, even that is gross and covered in hair. Listen, when you have a microscope, everything is nasty and covered in hair, okay? If you guys weren't seeing this in 1080p with a hugely zoomed in microscope, it would look clean. That's paper towel. Why is it paper? Okay, we're gonna do this. This secret strategy for cleaning the flux thing. There we go. And then I wipe that with a towel. And there's still hair in it. All right, we're gonna ignore the hair. A little bit of tacky flux. The other strategy for doing this would be to add a little bit of my own solder, and that way we get more of an alloy of solder that's been worked over recently, and it makes it a little bit happier to all become liquid. We apply heat, we hold it there for a couple seconds, and then boom. And that left a lot of surface tension between the pin and the via. I'm gonna try one more time to see if we can get a little bit of extra from the edges. Not really. Maybe solder braid will do it, or I can put the giant tip on the iron and try to get all three of these to be molten at the same time. Yeah, see, it's clean, but their holes are very close. And so the little bit of solder that's between the edge there, that's going to hold this together. I know you can't win against the microscope. Also, this stinky solder. What is this stuff? Ugh. Okay, let's add a little bit of our own solder to this because I have partially leaded solder that flows a little more smoothly. Even though the alloys of unleaded solder are very nice. Lead-free solder has come a long way, but adding a little bit of lead solder might help us because I haven't raised my soldering iron's temperature. Temperature. It looks like I'm probably going to have to heat up all three of these and just remove it that way because these are just so close to the size of the hole that they're in. For the PS5 controller thumbsticks, I cover all plastic and IC in laptop and hit it with hot air after sucking the solder. Huh. That's one way to do it. I mean, we can also just get this to like... A lot of phones went bad in COVID because of solder. I never heard of that. See if I can get it to... Let's see if it comes out from here. Oh yeah, so that immediately gave up the ghost. The ghost. So I could try to transfer that over, or I could try out the new switches, which is probably what I'll do. I'll just try out the new switches. Oh, what direction are these facing? They're facing... Okay, towards the outside. Towards the outside, towards the outside. We're zoomed way in with the microscope. It's just more asmery. Usually I'll be further back when I'm working. Let that get in there and lower the temperature a little bit for everybody. Some factories got supply choked and are still forced to use lead-free solder, and other sources wasn't as good. Lead-free solder is like universal now in manufacturing, so that we're not all getting exposed to detrimental boomer amounts of lead and getting all pissed off at our waiter after church. Violent psychopath boomers because everything they had was covered in lead. Their toys were lead. The paint on the toys were lead too. The gas was lead. The solder was lead. And now we've gotten rid of a lot of it. Things are looking up. Of course, now we're filled with microplastics, but still. Lead-free is a better place for everybody. Okay, that looks a little bit more complete. We solder RAM on top of the CPU. Shit's very complicated. Yeah, things are weird. No, look, lead-free solder is almost universally a better thing. The newer alloys are much better than the stuff that we started out with in the early 2000s. But the old guard of electrical engineers will poo-poo it until they're blue in the face because it doesn't look good. But there's no difference. It's fine. You have to work, the soldering iron has to be a little bit hotter, just a little bit hotter, and then you're good to go. Okay, circuit board? What do you, okay, what do you, okay, hello? Okay, there. Jeez. Okay. Yeah, look at that. That's the reason why it was double clicking, is because it didn't fully click down and then that caused it to jitter. Is it mostly as easy to use as 6337? I'm not sure. I ordered the wrong stuff, and so mine is, what is this stuff? 3.344. I don't know, man. It's not quite lead free. It's partially unleaded. So I have been working with lead. I don't know about the newer stuff, and I should use the newer lead free. Do you recommend for a sucker really trying to find one with the silicon tip? Yeah, Engineer SSO3. You know it by the Star Trek TNG font. This is a really good one. You can break this thing down to its bones and not replace, but you can replace the O-rings. You can replace the silicon tip with a 1/4 inch or 1/8 of an inch ID silicon rubber hose. They sell their own brand of replacement tips. Don't buy into that. You're going to be spending too much money on it. Basically, you just want a clear silicone rubber hose, just a generic. I've still got some of the stuff that came with it. So, but the silicone rubber is very important because it withstands soldering temperatures. So basically, I put the new one on. Hey, put the new one on. They're rebuilding a deck two doors down, so I've got like saw noises all over the place. And then you just push this thing out and cut it right at the tip so that this thing is capable of pushing solder out. It's right there. Maybe even it out a little bit. I kind of messed that up. That one's going to be weird. Well, it'll work just fine. So that's essentially the tip, and then the little pusher goes all the way to the end and pushes out the solder that's inside of that immediate tube. They get kind of nasty after a little while with all the flux and the heat. So you just replace it in 2 seconds, and now I've refurbished my solder sucker. And you could eventually, like lead dust, solder dust, will get inside of this and kind of gum it up. This part scratches, and eventually solder will stick to the inside of this, and maybe you won't be able to push it out again. But you can unscrew all the different features and clean them out, which you should probably be careful about because it's, if you're using leaded solder, it's like lead solder in grease. So you'll probably want to, like, you can either glove up or just be really careful with the paper towels. Wipe the whole thing down. Use any grease that you've got. If you've got red grease, if you've got dielectric grease, just get it in there, and then it'll fully refurbish your solder sucker for another day. So I've had it so that this thing was working terribly, and then I did that whole process of breaking it all down and putting it all back together, and then it worked like brand new. And then at one point, this thing filled with solder and it wouldn't come out, and I just bought another one for 20 bucks. But this thing is well worth it. I always hated solder suckers. They never worked for me. They would always make horrible plastic smell, and nothing would work right. It was terrible until, and I think it was either Twisted Sister or what's his face? Well, anyway, it was one of the old heads of the stream, one of the people who stuck around, and they were just like, you got to get this one. You gotta check it out. It's much better. So we're going to try these weird new switches that I bought in the hope that they are the same. Let's just compare real quick. I think the dimensions are fine. They're just an Omeron switch. I just got these because they looked fancy from Amazon. And as it were, basically you just have a click over mechanism that makes contact. So common pin is connected to this lever. This lever is shaped such that it clicks over. So there's a little pop where it clicks over and makes contact to the normally open contact. That's all it is. But then apparently if you don't push it down enough, it can kind of bounce and make multiple clicks. So these are a replaceable part. They will last years, or they will last months, or they will last decades. It's sort of up in the air about how long these things actually last. Yeah. We're not gonna take it. No, it's a friend of mine from Virginia, and it's Twisted Sister. It spells it all funky because it's a screen name. It's not actually Twisted Sister. It's just some guy on Twitch. My wife loves is always on my neighbor deck. What? So I'm just pressing that down lightly to the circuit board so that it's flat and getting one thing soldered, and then I'll solder the other ones. Do you collect the sucked solder? No, I throw it out. It ends up on the desk and I throw it out. I mean, maybe if I had a solder pot, maybe I could keep it, but solder pots are exceedingly dangerous. They're so fucking dangerous because, like, with the solder pot, you have this pot of molten solder, and if you drop any moisture in it, it's going to be like a grease fire. Like, it'll just send molten solder all over the place. You could flash, flash steam will throw solder all over the place. No way. No, you can't catch me dead with a solder pot. No, we ain't gonna take it. We're not gonna take it anymore. All right, so this is stuck in my head. I do wish this was USB-C, but I bought this thing in 2020. And because they've got all this stuff around the plug, it's not really all that stressed out. All right. Yeah, get your own solder extruder and somehow reuse all the... I don't think that's really a thing. So this is going to feel way different with these new switches. I'm going to be... I might be buying a new mouse. Change the connector while you've got it open. I don't know if they make direct, because you know all these plugs have different design. Like this one at least has feet in the front and the back, and they're all through hole. That makes for a very strong connector. We've had oh, look at that, it's got a whole armor thing on top of it too. That's awesome. That's a good plug. We've had these so that when you plug them in, they immediately fly off of the board just because they break the solder connections, because apparently manufacturers, this one excluded, don't give it enough time on the solder, and so they'll have a surface mount pad that's supposed to anchor this thing, but this is what interacts with the 10,000-pound gorilla that is the user of your product. So having an irresponsibly soldered on USB micro, it was the bane of my existence. I'd try to plug the thing in for the first time, which is always the worst plug. It always takes a lot of force, and it would just go whoop, and the whole thing would come off, and it would take like little bits of traces with it. And so you'd either have to be adept at repair, or you would toss that one in the bin and move on to the next one. But it's maddening that people would do that, so that you plug in your entire USB, and all of that fulcrum of the USB plug would be resting on surface mount pads. Were you to use one of those, and I don't know if this is in the standard or not, you want to have vias in those pads. It doesn't matter if they're big or small, just as long as you have vias in there so that solder can make its way down and make like a rivet that would hold on your surface mount pad, because otherwise you are relying on the sticking of the FR4 to the copper to the FR4, other way around. You're relying on that sort of interface as well as your solder mask to hold down the mechanics of the 10,000-pound gorilla. So bad, stupid, bad. Anyway, let's put this thing back together, and I can get mad at my choice of switches. You know what? I should probably clip these. I don't know if there's room inside of the thing, but there might be. But I'll do it a favor and get these nice and flush. Well, that was a unique bark. Willow just went roo, roo, roo. She's trying not to get in trouble for barking. Worked for a company that had a few secret parts. The way we dealt with it was we erased the numbers. I've seen all kinds of stuff like that where they try to scrape off the names of chips and stuff, and it's always just maddening, because all that does is waste a little bit of my time. That's it. It just wastes a little bit of my time. I go, man, this sucks. And then I find the part. Like, always. It's always the case. All right, so this first, and I'll get the screws for that. Wait, was there something that screws in? It was here and here, so I can still get to that. Yeah, we got to get to the bottom and the top of it. Is there like a smaller one I should be using on that one on the outside? I don't think so. These are kind of standard. One of them has... No, they're standard. They're all the same. Change the sensor. Why? It's got a good sensor. This thing? Or do you mean the one here? I don't understand what this race for the most DPI is, because you really don't need your mouse to run that quickly across the screen. I don't know anybody who, you know, crank the DPI on that sucker. I want to move one atom to the right and have my mouse fly off the screen. Nobody does that. This thing drops down here, putting the LED into position. Yeah, as soon as this thing fails again, it goes in the garbage. That's just its fate. I'm not dilly-dallying on that one anymore. Did this plug, where did this plug in? This plugged all the way to the bottom, didn't it? Oh, and it looks like there's a vibrator that goes right there. They decided not to have the mouse vibrate, did they? Or maybe the Model Up does. Because that looks like one of those phone vibrators. All right, let's twist this in place. Twist this is. There, and then gets another one of these screws. Ubiquitous little guys they are. Okay, there's the lighting system. Sans hair, sans undertail, sans hair. And then these two go back in. My buttons. How do they go? They go from underneath? No, they go this way. Like that. And like that. And then that gets a screw in the back. Where did all my screws go? I had many more screws holding this thing together. Oh, they're there. I remember the screws. Tactile mouse? Is that the Microsoft mouse? Is that what they called that? I seem to remember something called tactile mouse. Powerhouse. Oh, that's Danger Mouse. The Microsoft Danger Mouse. Ouch, why does it hurt? Tactile mouse. Tactical mouse would have like a flashlight and a laser pointer. Valve, the PC gaming company, released 3 controllers but no mouse. Isn't that... They're going to be releasing the Steam controller soon, and it's $100. I don't think I'm going to buy it. I don't think I need the Steam controller, but I kind of need the Steam controller. But I don't need the Steam controller, but I kind of do. All right, that's good. And it's just basically the Steam Deck's, you know, control interface. All right, so this goes down here. I don't know who's plugging into what. I think this plugs into here because these take all those the signals out. I think that's what that does. Are they different plugs? Yeah, they are. So they're different sizes. So it goes into the only one that it fits into. So that makes sense. Okay, so there's that connected. And then this, I got to sneak down here. The buttons are where? There's one of them, so they all face this way. All right, just like that. How many of these had screws in it? Was it 3? Because I've only got so many screws now, and the whole thing's got to go back together with the screws that I have. Don't be fooled by the screws that I've got. Used to have a little, but now I have less. Where are my screws? Well, I got a bunch. Oh, this also needs to go back in before... Well, that goes with this. I don't remember what screws went where. I'm winging it. I'm completely winging this. The original first Steam controller with just one joystick is really good. It runs on batteries. I used to have one. I think it's still over there. Yeah, it runs on non-rechargeables, which I don't know if I like. I'm not sure. What I really want is for Nintendo to release their Pro controller again, but with analog triggers, because it didn't have analog triggers on their Pro controller, and it's really well made. Like, it's really well made. I would love to use that with a PC, but instead I use the DualShock 4, which I didn't expect to like as much as I did. It's a good controller. Steam controller seems pretty all right. It seems like it's a little big for sitting in front of my keyboard when I'm gaming. Now, did this never have a screw in it? It kind of feels like it never had a screw in it, and I shouldn't have put that back in. 1, 2, 3, but this one might not have had one in there. I think it has to. And then these plug into the bottom board. And we got to get this situated again. This one uses these really flat screws with the big head. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you know what? I think one of those went to, because I need a silver screw for that side piece over here, which may have been the last time I took it apart. I decided that it wouldn't get one of the screws, but this one felt like it never had a screw in it, even though it is highlighted as a screw-in pad. Because yeah, this goes down here. Man, the mouse is a lot cleaner, and I'm happy for that. The mouse is a lot cleaner now. I'm very happy that the mouse is a lot cleaner now. Did it go like this, or did it go the other way? No, it went this way. Like that, and then there's a screw on top of it. This is what blocks all the nastiness from getting into the mouse. Boy, could I have used like a cup around this thing to keep the scroll wheel from firing all kinds of gross shit all over the inside of the mouse, like a sprinkler, like a nasty sprinkler. Oh, we got to get the screws into this. Okay, so 1 in the front and 2 in the back. I got so much booty, I don't know how to act. 1 in the front and 2 in the back. What if it needed the hair for structural support? Well, like old propellers that used like hair and grease in order to make a seal. I don't think this is an 1800s boat propeller. Screw number 3. I guess it's this one. Okay. And then these guys for my LED lighting, which is very important. It's a vital part of the mouse. Why are these crisscross? Applesauce. I think one goes on one side, the other goes on the other. They don't crisscross. And then it goes in. Which direction do the pins need to be? It's just like this. I can do this with tweezers. I probably should be. Well, this thing will go RGB when we plug it back in. We can see if we accidentally didn't plug something in. Sorry, I'm not getting the best camera angles on this. What's up, cover? You missed a lot of disgusting innards. Disgusting. All right, then this one. Pop that up. These little flat cable connectors they're actually pretty nice, to be honest. People have a lot of trouble with them. When you learn how to properly work with them, they're quite nice. You basically just need to seat it all the way down. This one is not doing. There. And then lock it in. And they take up very little room. They're nice. I like them. Okay. Outer shell. 4 screws. Oh my god, I forgot the switches. We no longer have the SteelSeries brand switches. I could have replaced just the nub, and maybe when I get the other Omeron switches, I want to do that. We really have breathed quite a bit of life into this mouse. It's starting to show its age. I mean, I bought this thing in 2020. I forgot to put the mouse ball. Ah, the mouse ball. Yeah, it was always so satisfying. The stuff that's on the rollers of the mouse ball, you were able to just click to the side and it would just fall out. All that stuff that would end up, because the mouse ball would squish the detritus, and then the detritus would then stick to the plastic roller and make this band of gross. Did you polish the lens? No, I did not. I did not expose the lens in any way. There's a little laser rangefinder here, and then there's the lens itself, and I've cleaned that, with a Q-tip previously, but I didn't get under this because I don't want to. Because I mean, look at that. There's a pretty good amount of environmental seal on a lot of these surfaces. Oh yeah, let's get the stickers back on before they get super gross. They're probably going to fall off in short order. They seem like they're at the end of their... They've almost been worn down to plastic too. So I may need to get new bumpers, but before I get new bumpers, I may just spend $40 on a new mouse. A new one of these. I don't know, the update to this mouse seems like it's way too smooth. Where did my other pad go? Uh-oh, there it is, fell down. Yeah, their replacement for this mouse, I guess I might have to just live with. But it doesn't have like weights in it or anything. I like the weighted mouse. I like it to have kind of a, I don't know, girthiness to it. It has like weight to it. Oh my God, Will's going nuts out there. Okay, these are just wandering. Ugh. I knew they'd drop this feature after this mouse, though. Nobody wants it. The glides aren't already plastic. You can buy replacement glides. They're kind of like a Teflon-y kind of thing. They're like a smoother plastic, but it's been taped in place. And they always tape over the screws. Because apparently in product design, if you have visible screws, you get laughed out of the convention. So everybody hides their screws beneath something. I wish they didn't. I wish they just had their screws in there and were proud of them. 3D print a new mouse and use some small webcam sensors and big buttons. Why do you want me to start an entire new project? I need this to play games and look at porn. I'm not gonna like do a project where I uproot my entire mouse and spend months creating a new one from scratch when a new mouse is like 40 bucks. Screws under the feet is apparently an obligation. They all do it. It's not okay. I wish they didn't. That feels very similar to how it did before. I was worried that it wouldn't. It seems like they're maybe just like microscopically more stiff, but that might just be because there's like a bump. Because content. I'm sitting here in front of my magnum opus. You would really say that in front of my magnum opus? My magnum opus is sitting back there on the wall and it has not been worked on for a month or 2 or 3. I've got some ideas of what to do with it, but if it sits there, I'm not starting any new projects. I am simply cleaning things that I already own, or, you know, working on things that I've already got going on. We're sitting here in the wreckage of something that I was unable to complete, and the wreckage of something that I was unable to complete. You know, this is all going to wrap back into the CAN bus stuff that I'm doing, but for right now, I'm having a lot of trouble with this thing. I can't get the backlight to turn on, and it might be because it's a me problem, not a you problem. It might be because of my timings in the microcontroller. Let me see if we've got double-clicking problems with this thing. The Idea Light, any of these little interactive things, the Money Gun is going to be a particularly fun stream because it really is only going to take me one stream. I think I need to get one of those magic mounts, the things like this mount where I can pose something and have it be kind of like locked in place. But we'll need to put like a thread on it that'll adapt this to the magic mount so that I can put it in place and have it aimed at my face. And then all we need to do is spin up an ESP8266 in order to basically yeet money in my face if somebody donates. Uh-oh. So these clear switches. That one said double click. Wait. Click, click. Oh, you guys need a close up of this. Yeah, any of these money and fart at the same time. We've all been there. Any of these projects that do like user interaction, I can now spin out very quickly. I've made a system for myself that makes it very efficient for me to create a thing that you guys can mess with. But I'll tie that back into subscriptions so that I get more money. I was making quite a bit of money for a little while there. Now I make as much as the lower average of OnlyFans people make. I don't know if it's going to be double clicking or not. I guess I'll have to do tests tonight. That said it was a double click, and it kind of felt like it might have been one. Like, should I be adding a capacitor to this so it doesn't double? I swear it was a mechanical issue though. It's because the top of the clicky part gets flat, but the other part might have been machined down as well. In which case, I don't know how I would add material to it, because it's like a microscopic sliver of plastic that's deformed. Why it would be down to the wire like this? I mean, I wish they used slightly stronger plastic. Put a piece of metal there instead. What good is 80 billion clicks, or in this case 60 million clicks, if it's going to machine itself into not working? I don't know. I'm going to say that it's fixed. Oh, I slipped off of the... When you slip off of the link, it doesn't register the button. Add a cap to the switch to debounce. That's what I was thinking too. Maybe that's the direction that this goes in if I still get double clicks. At least I know I am not going to be utterly appalled by the detritus inside of the mouse. This is the same level of the keyboard. It's just there was more hair wrapped around things. 80 billion dead clicks, yeah. That was an intentional double click. That was an unintentional double click. Hold on a second. That was an unintentional double click. Wait. I'm clicking as fast as I can. That, 2 double clicks. Unless I was just going too fast. Yeah, it's going too fast. No, I don't know. I think it might be fixed. It's over. We need moisture. I don't think it's moisture, because you guys saw how many different layers of stuff we'd have to get through in order to get moisture into one of these switches. Even still, it's like pretty well sealed. You'd have to really just breathe on just the switch in order to get it. But also, on top of all of that stuff, there is a blatant flat spot machined into the button from, well, what they would advertise as 60 million clicks. I want to dehumidify 3D printer filament. I don't have a 3D printer. What? They have, I have a thing that you put the filament into, that it's this thing right here. You put the filament in there and it pulls it through a heating cycle in order to dry out the filament. I have never needed it. There's one filament that I use, it's space gray, that I think takes on a little bit too much moisture. It's a cool looking filament. We used it in Burn the Subs. It's PETG, which supposedly loves water, but my 3D printer filaments sit below a window that I often have open during rainstorms, and I've never had moisture issues with my printer. Then again, it's very dry down here, to the point where people would say that I need to breathe into my mouse in order to get it to work again, which is, that's a wives' tale, it's poppycock, that doesn't work. The real menace in this case was the flat pad made out of the same plastic that the button was, going do 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 over and over again until they're both a little flattened, and then the button doesn't press down as far and you get double clicking. Now when you replace the switches, you are only replacing the nub on the switch, not the flat bar that's pushing it down. That goes from flat to a little convex, so you still don't get the full throw, so there might still be an issue. It should be okay, but yeah. What up, Killer? I'm winding down. I think we're starting to end because my mouse is now fixed. We almost threw up looking at all the stuff inside of it. I made all that gross stuff. That's my skin and oil. Ew. Disgusting. Yeah, so boy, oh boy, is this cleaner now. It is no longer a nest of spider eggs and disgusting skin. You missed the gamer gunk. There was epic gamer gunk. There's no other way you can describe gamer gump. Gamer gump. Gamer detritus. Boy, oh boy. Yeah, this is one of those things where like I put myself out there and it's really embarrassing. Cast the first stone if you live a completely sterile hospital room like environment life. Unfortunately, this is an electronics shop, and the light over my desk doesn't even work, which is good because then I don't have the light in my eyes. And so this went under the radar. This is the keyboard. So this is the annual cleaning of all of the stuff that I touch all the time. People be meat bags. They do indeed. They are bags of mostly water and beef. Anyway, speaking of beef, I've got a couple sausages to put on the grill, which is only 3 o'clock. So in a couple hours, I would like to go touch grass. It's a beautiful day out. You guys should also do the same when you can. I know most of you, it's probably late in the evening. Yeah, I'm gonna get some bangers going on the grill in a couple hours. But first I'm going to walk the dog. It's like an absolutely gorgeous day out there. I'm not going to miss it. We will work on, I don't know, the headlight switch. I'm kind of spinning my wheels. I know it would be interesting to do another one with that, but I don't know where I'm going with it other than like just guessing in the dark what signal timings. Because I think we've been spoon-fed the answer to that problem, right? The backlight, turn on the backlight problem. And I put in the spoon-fed thing, but it didn't work. And so I'm thinking that's not a them problem. They didn't send me a bad signal. They probably sent me a perfectly good signal. My timing might just be off. But then again, my timing in the Lin standard is pretty well spelled out. I just don't know what to do, you know? I can't touch grass until I'm out of work at 5. I appreciate the people that put me on in their workplace, and they seem to fully trust that I will not get them fired by some utterance of curse words or cursed visuals. I will draw a penis in full 1080p, pixelated, well, pixels because I'm zoomed in on MS Paint. And if your boss walks by, it's not my fault. Okay, me with class. Jeez, you guys, you're putting a lot. You're putting me into a big basket there. You're putting your faith in me not being completely cursed as somebody who loves things that are cursed. Draw as many as you want. I'm Gooch. All right, you're Gooch. I didn't say the E on that. Gucci. Okay. Anyway, I better get out of here because I'm spinning my wheels. Because when I finish something like this, it's like I'll talk in circles with you guys. Joined stream, and the first thing I heard was Lin Bus. Thought we were back. Luckily, it's just mouse repair. If you rewind the stream a little bit, you'll see some of the most cursed gamer gunk that has ever existed. And we blew the gamer gunk out, and I actually had to take a pick in order to get it out of the contours of the scroll wheel. Absolutely disgusting. Disgusting. It was hell. But I dragged you guys down to hell with me, and you survived. So I appreciate you very much. Go have fun on Twitch. Do whatever you guys want to do. I'm gonna plug this back into my main computer and hope that it actually like puts the LEDs back on. Because for some reason, when you switch computers with this mouse, it goes back to its default RGB, and then it doesn't listen to the software anymore. I don't know what the hell is going on with that. It might be a version number not agreeing, but... How old is this mouse? I bought it in 2020, and apparently it was designed in 2017. And I replaced the rubber on the side with something called Dragon Grip, which is this hexagonally cut. I don't like that it's hexagonally cut, but it's this lumpy grip stuff. And I used a hot air in order to make sure that it really sticks onto the side. But yeah, this mouse is about 6 years old. So if this thing goes bad again and I get double clicking, I'm throwing it in the fireplace and I'm buying a new mouse for $40. It was $41 for the update on this thing. So it's like This is your last. This is your last. That explains that my mouse is 5 years old and I've used it daily, but it's just shiny. Yeah, I tried to keep it from getting shiny because the shiny stuff was gross. But the problem wasn't like moisture. Whatever those people say, they're lying. Moisture isn't the issue. It's the fact that the plastic machines against plastic and left clicking for 6 years has caused that flat spot to form. And that keeps the switch from pushing down all the way. And if you look, this is the, okay, where's my pointer? Where's my pointer? I'm going to educate everybody before we go. Here, no pointer in the left hand. Can we see what's going on? Yeah, okay. So there's this, actually the other side's clear. You know, we can see more over here. So here's the common, I guess the common pin's over here. Common pin connects to this whole big lever. Or it might be this pin. I don't know which one's common on these. It depends. They could swap it. Doesn't matter. One of them's common, and that's currently connected to this upper piece, which goes down to this pin. When you push down on the mouse, you're pushing down on this lever system that's sprung, because it gets sprung. Dun, 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 dun. Anyway. Ow, ow. These are digging into my hand. You push down on it, and it clicks over, and that's what makes that clunk. When you click over on the spring and it ends up pushing down instead of up, that makes that nice satisfying click. So that goes clunk, and then it connects your common pin to the other pin of this thing. So this pin goes up and over here, this pin goes up and around here, and then this one goes up to this and this. And when you push down on that little nub, this spring will flump down onto the normally open contact, making it normally closed. So that's just that big copper spring inside of the thing. When this wears down, when this plastic button wears down and becomes flat, it won't push it down as much, and so it won't definitively click over and press down on the other contact. It'll just very lightly tippy tap, 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 tap. So it'll tip, tip, tap, 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 tap. And then that'll end up giving you a double click. Same thing happened with the scroll wheel. It's just that the scroll wheel was a plastic wheel across one of these. And so as it spun, it basically lathed itself down to being a flat on both surfaces so that when you click the scroll wheel, it would tip, tip, tap, 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 and open up 500 windows in your browser. And that's the death of most mice, is the machine, at least in SteelSeries, as far as I've seen, it's the machining of the pieces that are pressing against one another. And so the switch dies and your button pressing thing dies. They both equally die. You replace one, now you're at 50%. So you're going to be right back into that grind quicker. And so people think like, I replaced it with the exact same Omeron, but there must be some special sauce because they gave up on life quicker. Well, no, it's because you've got damage to your mouse and damage to the switch. Both of those work in conjunction to give you the error. So you fix one, you still got damage to your mouse. And you learned it here first. That is the definitive reason everybody else is wrong. Blowing into your mouse is not going to help it make better contact on the contacts. That's just crazy talk. That's just wives' tales on the internet. All right. We've all learned something today. Mostly it's just not to listen to bother. I will be back on Thursday. I've already done the end card. I'll do it again. I'm that unhinged. You guys don't own me. You don't know what I'm all about. You don't know me. I'll do it again. I won't even, see, no remorse. All right, I'll catch you guys later. Where's the buttons? Oh yeah, it's all the way over there.